Hi, Sarah. Finally, nice to connect with you. Welcome to Effortless Being, where it takes no effort just to be.
I love it. Thank you. So happy to be here. Thank you for
Yeah,
reaching out.
yeah, I'm glad we could connect. I really resonated with me, your talk you had with David Bingham. That was pretty neat. So I just thought I'd connect
Mhm.
with you and talk with you. Familiar with the channel at all, Effortless Being?
I had a quick peek, but I can't say I'm familiar.
Okay. Basically, what it is, the channel just came about after my self-realization with David. I heard him in The Greatest Secret. It was a book by Rhonda Byrne. I heard your interview, and that kind of resonated with me as well because you had mentioned there in the interview about The Greatest Secret, and I believe that's where you first heard about David Bingham. Is that how it went?
It is, yes. Yeah.
Okay, something he said in there resonated with you?
Yeah.
Anything in particular you want to share?
I can't remember offhand, but everything that David referred to or expressed in that book just really came through in a more tender way, I would say, than I had heard the message before.
Okay.
So that's what led me to ultimately reach out to him. And when I did reach out, I had no idea, right, if he was even accessible. It
Yeah,
was
right.
just,
Because you're
it
thinking,
was
oh,
a
he's on The
thought.
Greatest Secret. Is it going to be easy to get a
Yeah,
hold of? You know.
yeah, exactly. And then there he was, and we had a call set up, and what happened next was really beautiful and changed the trajectory of my life for sure. I was very much seeking, obviously, at the time. um, which is, I think, what leads most of us to David or to any teachers.
Right. So the seeking stop now.
Well, it's funny, the last time I talked to David, I even told him that it's interesting how seeking can be sometimes can come upon us in a sneaky sort of way when we are learning and growing or seeking to learn and grow. And rather than doing it for the expansion of like our spirit and our beingness here, we can get sucked back into that. And I was just telling him that I went through a little period of that um, as well, where, that wasn't what I was intending
Right.
to do, but
Yeah, no, when I had heard The Greatest Secret, David said the words, "You are the infinite being having a human experience." When he had said that, something dropped away. It was almost like I had been identified with this separate person named Rob with his story. So I kind of saw it like as a collection of thoughts that I had believed in. And so when he had said that, I'm like, wait a second, I'm the infinite being, and I'm just having this human experience. And so that kind of just everything just kind of fell into place, right there when he had said that. I was no longer identified with being this separate person with a story. I can kind of see through it, and I saw that I was just this space of beingness, of impersonal beingness, where everything was coming and going, but I was the permanent space, the
Mhm.
stillness, the presence, the impersonal presence that's just right here, right now, that's always been here. It was kind of like I've mistaken that identity because the conditioning in the world and my upbringing and whatnot was telling me that I was this separate person with these limitations, these limited thoughts, and I kind of saw through that at that moment and realized, what I truly was. And at that moment, it was just like, it was like a relaxation, almost like, and it was almost like a kind of obvious thing. Like, it was kind of here the whole time. I just misidentified with it. I was just kind of overlooking it,
Mhm.
but it's this presence that's always been here with us since I can remember, since being, as far back before two or whatever that I could even, you know, recall it. So that's kind of how it went for me. Does anything I just said there resonate at all with you?
So much. You said that so beautifully. It's very powerful the way you said that. I imagine that whoever listens to this will have quite the experience because you describe it very beautifully. And the experience, what resonated for me and what you said was the infinite expansion of the awareness as you're saying those words. And what I'm really interested in is being the infinite being, having an infinite experience with the in the context of this character,
Hmm.
which is boots on the ground, right?
Right.
To to a degree. So how to play the character in the most beautiful way possible while not identifying with it
Hmm.
as being who we are, but finding that dance. And I think that is, I don't know about you, but I think
Hmm.
that's been, you know, a big inquiry for me since self-realization.
Yeah, when you say that, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's kind of like, we've always been this, this infinite being. It's always been there. It's just that the conditioning came in and it's telling us that we're something separate. But after self-realization, what I realize is, there's still the world of duality going on, right? There's still Rob. He still goes to work. He's still a dad. He's still a husband, and he's still playing those roles. But it's kind of like it's all happening. Like it's like kind of like life is happening just through us anyway. And there's really no doer here doing it. I kind of saw that. Have you seen that part of it where there's actually no doer actually doing this? It's just kind of like the infinite being or life is coming through, so to speak, and just doing it.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah.
So,
I
and then,
have now for, so
go
go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. You have, but go ahead.
I have it, I would say the but is and um the doing is so seductive to move back into, right?
Mhm.
Um, at least it can be for me at times. So it's like a constant awareness around that of returning to allowing life to move through me, to be responding to life rather than um, I do believe we're co-creating because we do actually make choices and move, to a degree, but I think our actual will and choice is happening in the consciousness that we are in the moment.
Mhm.
So that's also another interesting topic for discussion.
Mhm.
Do you,
Yeah.
how do you find that whole doing and letting life move through you?
Yeah. And then it's kind of like the name of my channel, Effortless Being. And if I just stay there for a minute and just say effortless being, like it just takes no effort to be, and life is just effortlessly moving through me. Now, what I find is if I start making effort, then I kind of check my thoughts and be like, okay, what am I identifying with here? What am I believing? Effortless being, it's all happening effortlessly and automatically coming through me. Yes, okay, you talk about being intentional, maybe with manifestation, if you wanted to be intentional and manifest something, but really that's kind of coming from our intuition. I've noticed that if there's a thought that's coming and I feel like in my body like expansive, then I know it's coming from my intuition, from effortless being. If it feels easy, peaceful, relaxed, um, joyful, excited, I would say. If that's coming through, then I'm like, oh, that's coming from effortless being. And those thoughts or whatever synchronicities or things are lining up, then I know that's coming from my true nature. But if I feel constricted in my body, then I say, well, wait a second, like, what am I believing here? Is this really coming from my intuition? Are these thoughts really true that I'm identifying with? And this happens very quickly. It's not like I'm sitting here analyzing. It's just kind of it's just flowing through, that way. So I don't really see a doer doing it. Like it's just kind of like it's just flowing through, and It's almost like I'm allowing it. Like I have no resistance. I would say prior to self-realization, I had a lot of resistance, a lot of identification with limited thoughts and things of that nature. But now there's like no separation. Like everything is whole and complete. It's just this one appearance that comes up in this space of beingness that you are, that I am. And it's almost like when I'm looking out at your eyes, I can see the consciousness coming out of your eyes into mine, that we are one. It's just that we're playing these roles, and consciousness is almost like playing like a game of hide and seek, coming out here and there. But consciousness is just taking form into these different, you know, in this space
Mhm.
of beingness that we are. But when I look at you, I see myself almost like it's like almost everything is one.
Mhm.
I see everyone as me, and I have this love for you, for everyone that's really coming from my heart. and I'm holding that space for people. And it's almost like, I'm playing the mirror, but when you're looking, you're really just looking back at yourself. So it's nothing I'm doing. It's consciousness revealing itself to itself, so to speak.
Mhm. Yeah, the reflection of that love going back.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of that lately. We're just a feeling of so much love for absolute strangers that, so sometimes I'm sure it gets weird for people. If I'm tearing up in the gym or something, I'm like, you're so beautiful. It's like you're me and I'm you and we're one. But, it's stunningly beautiful to look on humanity that way.
Yeah, see, I mean, it's like since self-realization, it's almost like it's different in the aspect that like you said, you can see everyone as yourself. Just going to the gym, doing everyday things. I go to the gym too, and you go there, and you can just kind of, you just feel that sense of wholeness with people, that connection, that they are you, and so you feel that just even in everyday life. And it's interesting how it even flows into relationships and things like that. How are things going with you with relationships, with family and things like that since self-realization? Because a lot of people ask that question on the channel. They're like, well, after self-realization, like, what's really changed with relationships, with work, with career? Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Thank you for asking. I would say initially there was a little bit of an interesting transitional period with my kids
Huh?
because they were upset that I wasn't bothered with them about things. And at the time they were teenagers, so this was a few years ago. Um, and they wanted me to be more bothered along with them about life.
Yep, join
And so
in
I
it.
think that, yeah, join in the suffering, you
Yeah,
know. But I understand that too, because that's a big change in the relationship. And not that I did that anyway to any great degree, but I would go there with them more. And I couldn't after self-realization. I think it made them feel a little disconnected from me, honestly.
mm.
And I tried to explain it to them, and it just took some time for our relationship to evolve into what it is now.
What's it like now?
I think there's more freedom and acceptance in our exchange. There's less of a container.
Mhm.
It's more free. My expectations are different. I have a much greater level of acceptance and appreciation too for all of it, where I think before I really wanted things to be a certain way. I wanted them to have a certain level of happiness. I didn't want them to express certain things too much, to bring too much negativity or anything into the house or the home or the family. And I just feel a little more relaxed around that now, which I hope gives them more of a sense of freedom.
Sure. I know I got
Yeah.
kids too. I got teenagers. I have, and when I realized my true nature, like 3, 4 years ago, whatever it was, my kids were teenagers as well. Now they're like 19, 20, and 27. I got all girls. And I noticed that too, like prior to self-realization, as far as when it comes to parenting, I was kind of like, I had like, these thoughts of this image of how my kids should be. And, so you try to control it, so to speak, prior to self-realization, and you have all these expectations and you try to control it and you're on your kids kind of thing. But now after
Mhm.
self-realization, it was just kind of like, hey, I look at them, I look at all kids as they're the infinite being as well. Like there's no hierarchy. My kids are equal to me in that I can see that they're the infinite being. And so I give them the space, Of course, as dad, I may try to guide here and there, but for the most part, it's kind of like I'm just like the space for them and they can do whatever they want to do. And it's like all accepting, after self-realization, because I realize, what they truly are. That's how I kind of
Yeah.
experienced that.
Yeah. Beautiful. I've had many moments the same of just seeing them as they are, the infinite being, and having much less of a sense of my role as mother, even though,
Mhm.
I am, and I have things to do in that role, but there's much more of a regard or a reverence, I would say, for their beingness.
That's beautiful. I like how you expressed
Mm.
that. So how has your career changed? So I think I was listening to David. Are you a therapist? Is that what, like maybe just talk a little bit about what you do.
So hypnotherapist and spiritual coach.
Okay.
And recently I moved into specializing in conscious relationships. So helping singles and couples have more conscious relationships and to date consciously.
Okay. And how does that
And
work like with self-realization as far as like when you're, in your therapy and when you're counseling them? Um, have you found that it's a little different now, like when you're in that kind of work doing that?
oh yeah, it's very different.
How so?
Very
Tell us.
different because, well, because the paradigm is completely flipped upside down, right? It's
Right.
not the same paradigm that I went into this work with. And I remember on the heels of self-realization, I was like, I don't even know how to do this anymore because the whole paradigm has changed. Like, how do I even explain this? And I just naturally kind of morphed, like grew into that, working from that level of perception. And really, my sessions turned into more conversations, like this would be around how life's unfolding for the client, and then what that means in the context of the infinite nature that we are, and in the context of what life, I can't say that I know for sure because none of us do, but what life seems to be, appears to be, and approaching life and relationships from that perspective of what if this is, the infinite being, and Sarah, the person, is a character.
Mhm.
And that's just, those are separate identities. Now, how do we approach this? And then what do relationships mean from there? And how do we be conscious in relationships and still be someone who is, how do we live in our infinite nature and still be someone who can commit and be
Mhm.
reliable and be, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
still hold a human container of some sort, which is important.
Yeah, it's great because it's like we are the infinite being, but we're still having this human experience, right? So the human experience is still happening, but it's almost like we're awake in the human experience. It's like because we know what our true nature is. We know that we're the infinite being, that we're this space of beingness, this consciousness that's always here, but yet we're playing the roles, right? So I was thinking just even in your work in the paradigm shifts that you're talking about prior to self-realization and after, and in your role as a therapist, as a coach, and how that really changes. What I've noticed too, because I do coaching as well with people, is that when I'm looking at them and even when I'm talking to people, and what I do is I kind of see them as whole. I see them as complete. I see them as healthy. Like it's almost like I'm holding that space with them. So when they're talking to me and maybe they're telling me, their problems or their limitations and things like that, it's kind of like I already know that that's not really the truth of what the matter is. That's not really the case. It's just that they're believing this. They're having this identity with these problems or these issues or these roles that they're having. But I'm looking at, like, I'm holding the space for them, and I'm just kind of, even with the energy transmission that I'm giving in the space, because it's really the space that's doing all the healing, the silence. And when you hold that space with people and you hold them in that love, in that wholeness and that completeness, that they're not broken. I almost feel like, maybe prior to that, you viewed people as, in the paradigm shift before self-realization, you may see them as, you know, maybe they're broken, and I have to be the fixer to fix them. Whereas now it's more, I'm holding the space, the presence. I hold the presence, I'm the space, and I'm like the mirror, right? And then they're telling me, and I'm just kind of reflecting back to them, but they're the ones healing themselves. Like there's nothing I'm doing. It's just like effortless being or presence coming through and revealing, or consciousness revealing itself. And then the healing is taking place really through the conscious level, through the consciousness, and really through the identity level. Because a lot of times you can just say something to somebody, they go on with the problems, and you could just be like, so, what is it that's having that experience? Like in other words, like, what are you identifying with, or what thoughts are you believing that you're identifying? And who is this person that's identifying with this. What is that space that's underneath that? What is that silence or that awareness, you know, where those thoughts or where that identity is coming from? And kind of like, and if you just rest in that space and you get them to, and they reflect on what their true nature is, almost like consciousness is waking up, and then they can just heal themselves, so to speak.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I would describe the same experience in what I do now. And yeah, there was more of an identification with the story and the suffering
Mhm.
before, and I still have enormous compassion for
Of
any
course.
suffering that
Yeah,
anyone
we
has had.
honor. Mhm.
It's honored, but it's not, it's there's something very different about it now. It's that um I'm not even sure I can put words to what the difference is, but
Mhm.
there's something that has massively shifted there in how I approach the story or the suffering or, the traumas that everyone, inevitably seem, not everyone, most people inevitably seem to face in this life.
Do you feel like it's actually happened when they're telling you, I had all these problems when I was a kid and all these things happen. It's true, and we honor everyone's, they've had that life experience, but when you look from their perspective, of the essence of what we are, how does that
Mhm.
change?
Well, ultimately, from this perspective, nothing is neither good nor bad.
Right.
And that's always an interesting discussion if you say that to someone who's had massive trauma, right? Or is hearing that for the first time.
Hmm.
And, the way the experience is unfolding is the infinite being experiencing itself, revealing itself to itself.
Hmm.
So, from that level of perspective, things are unfolding as they should for that revelation. And that's so empowering. If someone can actually sit with that, or if that just kind of sinks in, it's just kind of like some people, if I explain it that way, all of a sudden will go, I like that.
I love that.
Like, I know, right? You're
Yeah.
like, I like that, because it's just so freeing. It just pulls you right out of the story and you know, the weight, the heaviness of it.
It's almost like Sarah, like I'm sitting here with you and we could talk about these things, but there's really nothing serious going on. Like everything is okay. Like there's an okayness here. And it's just that the mind or the thoughts are coming, telling these people that they have these issues, they have these problems, and they're identifying with it. And then they're having those life experiences because those beliefs are being projected or mirrored out, like based on what you're believing. So it's almost
Mhm.
like if we can just hold the space for people, and be that mirror for them to realize what they truly are. It's almost like once a person realizes what they truly are, they're no longer identified with the story. So that therefore then the problems that were identified with that story drop. And then they can remain as the peaceful presence that they truly are.
Yeah, which is the miracle of it because the story is so present in one moment. And then when
Mhm.
that realization happens, it all falls away.
Like a deck of cards.
Yeah, it's just
It's
like,
almost like as if it never really happened.
yeah,
It's
that's
almost like,
like that's the Buddha laughing, right? Like I mean, I think I laughed for the first 3 weeks after self-realization. I just feel like
yeah.
laughing,
He's like,
laughing my
he's like,
way
I
through.
really believe this story. I was so invested in it. But now when I look, I was like, dude,
Yeah.
there's nothing serious going on. I was always just this space of beingness. And then it was like, I'm like in the screen of consciousness and this movie's playing and it's doing all these things.
Yeah.
But consciousness itself, even when you enter, we talk about the five bodies, right? You're talking about like the mental
Yeah.
body, the emotional body, the body of bliss, the physical body. Even though consciousness is entering into those bodies, having those particular experiences, it's never hurt by anything that it's doing. It's
Yeah.
consciousness
Yes.
itself because it's impersonal. It's just our beingness. It's never hurt by it at all. It's just having
Yeah.
those experiences of it. And that's kind of a
Yeah.
piece of knowing that, wouldn't you say?
So much peace in knowing that because it doesn't change. The consciousness that we are is the only part of us that is never changing, unchanging.
Hmm.
And everything else changes. Everything perceived or filtered through the mind or the emotions or the physical body, wisdom body. I don't know about bliss. Bliss is bliss, but everything is always changing. It's just experience. But this is, I love taking clients through the exercise of if I can get them back to this, who you are, who is it that's peering out through those eyes. It's not even through the eyes, as we know, but and go all the way back to the earliest memory you have. And is that part of you still there? And they'll say yes. Has it changed at all? No, it's the exact same. And it's a sweetness, right?
Hmm.
It's like such a sweetness because it was like you see, I think you said like 2 years old or whatever
Yeah.
you went back to, but there's so much comfort in that. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you say who, I always like to say like what you are, because sometimes when you say who to people, like they're identified with being, they take it in a personal way. But sometimes even the language that we use, if we can say, what you are, kind of, because really what we are is impersonal. It's not personal. And I
Hmm.
just love how you did that, how you take them back there, and it's so sweet to know that.
Hmm. Yeah. It's so profound, so simple, but so profound. And
Mm.
the thing that's most curious about this whole journey is how it's that sense of it being gone, right? Like, when you're in a conversation with someone and then, or I'll use a client for an example, and, they get back in the next session, they're like, okay, we got to go back there. It's gone. Where did it go? It's like, the elusiveness of it or the way it's structured is really interesting. It's curious to me. Creates the game, I guess. I mean, that's my only explanation for it at this point.
Yeah, it's like the game of consciousness, like playing a game with itself, game of hide and seek or whatever it's doing.
There
But
you go. That's what it is, a game of hide and seek with itself.
perfect.
I love that. I've
Yeah.
actually never heard that, but that's so
I
perfect.
think I got it from David, actually. I think I heard him say it one time in an interview or
Oh,
something.
okay.
But I kind of
I
can
love
relate to it.
that.
Like I really resonate, with that.
Yeah.
I kind of see it, experience my direct experience is that. And that's why I love talking to people. Like when I'm doing these interviews and stuff, I always like to say, well, what's your direct experience? Or even when I'm talking to people, seekers and whatnot, is I always like to do that, get them to see what they truly are. Do you talk to seekers as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mhm.
So your work now is more, you said something about, what is it, connections or love? Is it more like a dating kind of site, or what is it that you're?
So it's called Conscious Love Collective,
Yeah.
and it was conceived originally to be for singles who want conscious partnership relationships,
Okay.
um, and evolved into now couples as well, just because naturally couples come to me, for some guidance on these things. So I've included both groups in it. And it's just really an intention, anyone with the intention of having a truly conscious relationship, but who wants to experience romantic conscious relationship. And what does that look like in, you know, how do we expand into that and show up for that with all the conditioning we have, all the societal norms and narratives around the relationships and what's healthy, what's unhealthy, and all the buzzwords and the memes, and just cutting through all of that noise and going, but what is conscious relationship?
Yeah.
You
So what
know?
is it? So how do you take them through it? So the clients meet with you, and now that you know yourself, realize you kind of know what love is, right? So
Mhm.
how do you coach them to that?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's important to identify between love and relationships, that they're different. Love is our true nature. To be love, to be the presence of love is our true nature. The thing that I find so dysfunctional, and I've been guilty of it too, obviously, is that we withdraw love from our relationships. We we show up with it, we withdraw it, we withhold it. We do all these wonky things because we're shifting in and out of our identity from the character and our true nature. And the most important thing is that we stabilize in the foundation of the infinite being that we are. And to not withdraw love and to be maintain that level of perception in relationships because relationships, I don't know about you. You said you're married?
Yeah, so I'm on my second marriage, so I do have an ex-wife. Although when I look back, I don't remember anything about my ex-wife. Not that it's almost like as if it never happened. Like, did it really happen? Did I? Because if I think in this moment, oh yeah, my memories are telling me I had an ex-wife. But no, now I have a new wife now. Yeah, I'm on my second marriage, and I'm happy, and I hope that we have love. Like, it feels like we do. I feel pretty good. Like it's much different than the first relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think relationships they trigger all the programs, right? They
Yeah.
trigger they trigger all the humanness, the fears, the small self, the mind's madness, the full emotional range. It's just, being a parent and being married or having a long-term relationship they're great training grounds for our maintaining stability of consciousness.
So you're married
So
again now, or
no, I'm not remarried now, no.
you're in the single field?
Yeah, I'm dating someone right now. So I was separated in 2011
Okay.
and divorced in 2013 and have been exploring relationship, very earnestly from this place of what does healthy relationship really look like and how can I be available for that and actually show up for that? And I think ultimately the biggest shocker for anyone who's new to my work is that I will work with them in the context of what's showing up for them as being a reflection of themselves, and that it's not the other person that's the problem. And I think that's the biggest disservice going on in the relationship narrative right now. There's a lot of that going on, and I just think it takes us way off track. It's not helpful. We really need to change who we are in a relationship. We don't need to worry about changing other people.
It's funny you say that because I'm coming out with a new book called The Mirror is the Medicine. And the whole idea of the book is like when I'm coaching people, is like I'm holding, like I've been talking to you on this call, like I'm holding the space as the presence, and I'm the mirror, and they're talking, and I'm just reflecting as I'm talking with them, or even holding the space and the silence. And I'm reflecting back to them, and then they can see for themselves what they're doing, and
Yeah.
what they're identifying with. And then consciousness can reveal it. And once they find out what they truly are, then what they are inside is going to be reflected on the outside.
Right. Yes. So I love that. Congratulations on working on that.
Yeah, because I've been thinking like a lot of the therapists, coaches, leaders, um, like a lot of times, we think we're the fixer, like we're playing the role of we're fixing
Mhm.
it. And when we're coming from that, or when we're looking at somebody, we see them as broken, or they're not whole, they're not complete. Even with religions, like I can remember growing up in religions, they would teach you, that you have sins and you have to do all these things you know, to make yourself whole. And they use a lot of guilt and things of that nature for you. So even like religious leaders or just leaders, therapists, counselors, I'm not saying all of them, are doing
Mhm.
that. It depends on who the facilitator is. But I just think what you're doing, coming from the space of being, self-realized, what you just said is, being the mirror instead of trying to be the fixer and not putting it on the other person when it comes to relationships,
Mhm.
because it starts right here, looking at
Yeah.
ourselves. What beliefs are we
Yeah.
holding, you know, about love, about relationships? Do we realize what we truly are? Am I just identified with Rob
Mhm.
and his stories? And then it goes back to self-worth, am I worthy of love?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a biggie. That's a biggie. There's an inherent unworthiness in most of us human characters, if not all. And we're projectors, ultimately. And that is the one thing I would love for everyone to see, to wake up to before they actually lose the body, and croak. If we could see that we are projectors, the screen of life is reflecting back, as you say, the mirror. It's such a simple concept, but I think it's not widely accepted. What do you think?
No, that's why I came out with the book.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, hopefully, well, not hopefully, I
The
trust your
mirror is the
book.
medicine.
I
Yeah.
trust your book will help immensely with that.
Well, we'll see what happens, whatever life wants to happen. But it's just that, like you said, whatever we are inside is being reflected out there. It's just a mirror of what's happening. That's why it's really
Yeah.
important that we look at, inside and what are our beliefs, because whatever our beliefs are being projected out there, and we're having that life experience, and that life experience will reinforce whatever the belief is. That's why it feels so real
Yeah.
to people, because it's just
Yeah.
reinforcing it and it's just playing out. But if we can see through that, then we can change the nature of the human experience just
And
by,
every,
go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
No, and just by like, go ahead. You were onto something.
Well, I was just going to say, and when those things are being reflected back that aren't very pleasing
Hmm.
and we're not liking, that's amazing. Great. It's a gift because I'm projecting that out. So let's go in and have a look. What's going on? How do I change it? So empowering.
It's very
And
empowering to
then
think of
and
it.
then the victim mentality, victim identity is gone. It's gone for good once you can see that.
Yeah, because if you can see through it, then you realize you're no longer the victim, that you're empowered. Because a lot of people think they don't have any power, And that's what I liked about Rhonda's book when it first came out. When The Secret came out was her first book, and that was talking all
Mhm.
about how your thoughts create your reality. And that was empowering to me when I first heard that. Like, wait a second, my thoughts can actually affect the reality that I'm living. Because previous to that, a lot of people are in, like I was, in victim consciousness, thinking everything's happening to me. I have no control, and this is just the way it is. But I think what her book did and why it was so successful was it empowered people to realize that the thoughts that they were having was affecting their reality. So then people were starting to look at, well, what am I believe? What are my beliefs? And they started questioning their beliefs, and they would say, well, even like they would say, is this thought really true? And people would start examining. Then they would try to be intentional creators of their reality and be like, okay, well, if I only think about what I want, that's all that would ever manifest. Then as long as I don't have a contrary thought to it. But again, all of it's vibration too. So you can say it, but if you really don't believe that in your heart and that's not the vibration that you're putting out there, then that's what's going to manifest. And I noticed that then when she came out with The Greatest Secret, and then Rhonda did, and then it was talking more about your true nature. What is it that you truly are? You know, and
Yeah.
then once you're identifying with I am the creator consciousness, you know,
Yeah.
wow, or just effortless being, just being your true nature and bringing your life into alignment with your true nature, like making your everyday life easy, playful, follow whatever excitement there is, whatever joy there is, and lining up your day that way. That's bringing your life into alignment with it when you're aligning it, with that naturalness, that effortlessness, that ease. And you can intentionally design your day like that when you know that that's your
Yeah.
true nature. So that's very empowering to know that you can do that. You can actually change the nature of your experience. And it's almost like that comes with a default when you realize your true nature of effortless being, that
Mhm.
your life can be um, you can have that empowerment to have it come out that way. But it's not like it's a doer, like I'm doing it kind of thing. So I don't want people to get confused with that, because I know there's no doer here doing it. It's almost like you're allowing it to come through. Whereas previously, when you identify with your beliefs and your limitations, you were blocking that. from coming through
Mm.
because our true nature wants to express itself in love and joy and excitement and peace. Life's supposed to be fun.
Amen, brother. Yeah, exactly.
It's
But
supposed to be fun.
but it's supposed to be fun, but I think, what you're describing, I did exactly that.
Mhm.
And but I needed to give myself permission,
Yeah, you
because
got
I
so I could be the permission slip for you. That's why I tell people, all right, I'm the permission
yeah,
slip. Well, here you are. Looking,
yeah,
I'm having fun. I'm enjoying life. Be a living, embodying it, not just so much head knowledge, but embody
yeah,
that in your everyday life. Like really feel that from your heart and know it and feel that
yeah,
passion, that excitement, that joy. Be the permission slip. It's okay. You're meant to have
yeah,
fun. Like I'm giving you permission right now. You're meant to have
yeah,
fun. You're meant to have a joyful life. You are worthy to do it.
yeah,
You are
yeah.
that. So, and you have the permission to do it.
Yes, exactly. And actually, David and I taught a course called the Enjoyment Experiment.
Oh,
And just to do that exact thing. And I think I remember that being the feedback initially in the first couple of weeks from participants of going, oh, thank you. Finally, finally, I have permission to live a life of enjoyment. But what I found that was really interesting about setting enjoyment as the priority for the
mm-hmm.
day was it wasn't, it didn't take me further away from my practical responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
I was more effective in meeting the things, we have to do in life sort of thing. But I set a no compromise kind of deal with
Mm-hmm.
myself, which was the things that I normally don't enjoy, but I know I have to do, I'm going to enjoy them.
Love
The
that.
the enjoyment part is non-negotiable. And I'm going to also do things every day that my soul just wants to do and play and enjoy.
It's funny you talk
And it
about that.
works.
That's great. It's funny you talk about that experiment. There's someone else I talked to, Julie. I think she was in on that. I think that was the experiment she
Julie
was.
was a participant. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just finished up a book with her.
Oh,
Effortless
great.
Abundance. We just did one together. It's called Effortless Abundance, and then we're doing this 12-week Zoom class where we're going to do this experiment with abundance and taking. We have like 12 chapters in there, and we're going to take each one of those and walk people through some of the limited beliefs that people have, with abundance. And it's funny, I just got
Love it.
the cover back from Pixel was who we used for that. I just sent it over to her. I don't know if she had a chance to look at it yet, but so it's kind of
I
cool that
would love it. Send my love to Julie. Love her so much.
I will. She'll probably be listening to this. She's on my
Yeah.
channel. She always listens to it, so she'll be hearing you. I had no idea that because she did talk about that how much that
Yeah.
benefited her, and she really enjoyed it.
Oh,
That's pretty
amazing.
cool.
Yeah, it was magical. It was a magical.
How did the experience? So, did you notice anything changing in the manifestation or in your everyday life and stuff like that through the having the intentions of doing it that way?
Yeah, well, effortless manifestation, um, things just falling into place without
Mhm.
having to force them or struggle, you know. It just life seemed to start flowing in a much more effortless way.
Not like you
And
had to
some
work.
things,
Some things. Go ahead.
so I'm thinking back to that time. That was
Mhm.
2 or 3 years ago.
Oh wow.
I had a I had a couple significant things that happened where I was like, wow, that, it was just surprising to me, how effortless it was. And actually teaching the class with David was effortless. That I got the download the idea. I had no attachment to it, but I reached out to him and said,
Mm.
uh, do with this whatever you wish, but I'm going to share it with you. And he was yes. And then I put it together and we taught the class, and it was just absolutely the most effortless
It's like
course
easy,
I've
just like
ever
this. Like
put
we're just
together.
having a conversation, just
Yeah, it
effortless.
was
So
that
putting it
easy.
together and conducting it, and then the experiment itself, what did you notice from the experiment?
For myself or for participants?
Both, whatever comes to you.
I think the collective, there's something really powerful, the power of eight. Lynn McTaggart, she teaches this. Uh, Actually, she's got scientific proof, right, of the power of eight, the manifestation that
Okay.
occurs when you bring groups of people together holding a similar intention.
Hmm.
There's something that happens in the group dynamic. So if that's what you guys are teaching, if you're going
Yeah.
to be doing a group, there's just so much more power in that collective. If you think about consciousness, that much more gathering together and holding a similar intention, and the pointing of that
Hmm.
is, I can't even describe what it is, but it is the effect on all of us is so powerful. Like the energy of the room, like it was Zoom, but I would call it the energy of the room. To me,
Love
I can't even describe it to you. It's just, it's off the charts. I missed it after because it was such a powerful group.
that. That sounds cool. Yeah. I'm actually, do you know Rami? I don't know if you know Rami. She also was on David Bingham's channel. I think she learned her true natures around the same time as you, or maybe shortly after. She's
She's
down in
not ringing a
Amsterdam.
bell at this
Yeah.
point, but maybe if I see her, yeah.
Yeah, I just had her on my last. If you check out my YouTube channel, I just did an interview with her. She's out of Amsterdam, and it's funny because Julie is. I'm going to be meeting her, Julie and her husband, um, out in Amsterdam.
Hmm,
Me and my wife are
amazing.
going out there, and we're going on a cruise, Scandinavian cruise. It's like an Abraham Hicks cruise or something like that. Um,
Yay! Are you going to Finland?
well, it starts in Amsterdam. I'm trying to think if Finland's on there. It was Berlin, Germany, Estonia, Sweden. I think Finland is on there. What, is that where you're from?
That's my heritage. Yeah, I have.
Oh, okay. I think it is on, and
Yeah.
then I think it ends in like Copenhagen. So
Yeah.
yeah, it should be pretty cool. It's like a 12 night cruise. But while we're
Wow.
there, I was just saying that Rami's going to meet us over there at the hotel where we're staying at. So there'll be three of us that like I've actually never met them in person. I just kind of just
Yeah.
talked to them on Zoom, but it's going to be pretty cool to actually, come together. It's something about like after self-realization, something that we, like, I don't know, like I feel like it's like my family kind of thing. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yes.
But it's like,
Yeah.
because even like I can remember like when I talk to family and friends like about what this is, like you can kind of sense like your intuition comes up and you know when to say things and when not to. And it's almost like, like they really don't get it or whatever. But like I can talk to
Yeah.
someone like you or Julie or Rami or and like we kind
Yeah.
of get it, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a
Yeah.
certain
It's
a
like you're
certain
speaking the same language, but it's like an international language.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. It's like, oh, I almost inherited like this family. Like,
Yeah.
like I mean,
So cool.
self-realization is great enough. I feel full, whole, and
Yeah.
complete. And this is just like, wow, nice little surprise. It's almost like the universe is surprising and delighting me at every turn. And that's how I set my intention for the day. What surprise and
Yeah.
delight can I have for today? Even when I see Rob, the character out there, if I fall down or something, I'm like, oh, how cute, how adorable. Like that's the way I look at the character now. Oh, look at him trying there.
It's so loving. I love it.
I have love for the character, It's like, oh, he's so cute. Look at him trying over there. See
He's
him fall
trying
down.
so
Like even
hard.
with
He's so
interviews and
cute.
stuff it's like I have no agenda. There's no
Yeah.
pre-planned thing. It's just all like
Yeah.
spontaneous in love, and it's just natural. It's just like
Yeah.
life wanting to express. It's almost like I feel like I'm so full and so complete. I have like all this joy and happiness and love, and it's just kind of like it's just naturally coming through and just expressing.
Yes. And do you find that things like telepathy and synchronicity are just like off the charts?
I
Because
literally just
that
got
just
look.
keeps,
Can you see my arm? I literally just got
yeah,
goosebumps. Just going
goosebumps.
from here to there when you just said that. It was so funny. I
Yeah.
was going to open up the call with you when you started talking about When I was talking about David in the beginning of the call, and I was saying I've never actually met David. I've actually never even talked to him on the phone. We just had like a few emails going back and forth, and that was it. It's like I already knew my true nature, and I just didn't. We never
Yeah.
really came together. I didn't really feel the need for it, but I almost feel like we're communicating telepathically. I don't know if how that sounds to you, but
Yeah.
That's what I feel like. It's almost like a better
Yeah.
form of communication. I don't know if I can go there with you with this kind of conversation, but um,
Oh, you're
okay.
speaking my
Oh,
language.
am I?
That's my
Okay.
life.
So,
That's my
okay.
life.
That's what?
Yeah. That's my life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like I can have telepathic, and even with my kids, like my older kids are with my ex-wife, but I feel like I still can like communicate with them, and they don't need to like physically be here for me to have a
Yeah.
relationship with them. I could still hold them in love and joy and
Yeah.
communicate. I think it's a much better form of communication when you're doing it
Yeah.
telepathically.
It's very powerful. It becomes very obvious, I think, after self-realization, how real that is. Reading the field, communicating through the field without the senses.
Hmm.
It's quite profound. And the synchronicities. That's how
Synchronicities.
I think like the infinite being revealing itself is such a joke because, I'll say something or be thinking something and then I'll step outside and the exact same scenario is like unfolding in front of me and I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah, it's so funny because when it's funny you say synchronicity because when I wrote this book, I don't know how you came about. Like, it's almost like the timing of us, because I know we didn't get together on the first time that we were going to get together, but I hadn't really had the book done then. And all of a sudden, the book got done. Then I'm talking to you, and then I'm looking at your background. I'm like, wait a second, she's a therapist, but she has background in that. Wait, I'm writing about this. How we're the mirror and the way that counselors and coaches are coaching and something's coming through. And if you look at my last conversation with Rami, I was talking to her about it too. And there's something she said about it that brought something into alignment. And then now here with you on the call, and it's just like just everything being set up. And I just don't know what's going to happen next. It's just like, and I'm okay with that, with not knowing and just,
yeah.
I'm just kind of allowing it all just to unfold. And when I look at, the several books I've written and the one I'm writing, and then the coaching calls, and then I just changed to having instead of saying coaching, now I'm saying mirror sessions. Instead of saying price for things, I'm saying energy exchange. Like, I don't know where all this is coming from or where all this is
Oh.
going, but it's just it's just like synchronicity is just like flowing through. And then, with Julie and just stuff that she's opened my eyes to, and just doing cohorts with her and then other ones. And I don't know. And then there's been synchronicities happening. Like, I just got back from a cruise ship from Abraham. For something I was always into the Abraham Hicks for some reason, the law of attraction stuff. So I'd go on these cruises and there would be all these people in this like I am creator mode. And what I'm finding when I
Yeah.
go on these cruises that I'm actually having self-realization experiences with people, like realizing their true nature on the ship, which is kind of,
Oh,
yeah, it's really interesting how it's all unfolding. Like this last one I had, and I said it in one of the other interviews on my YouTube channel, how, there was this girl, she was there, and this guy that I knew, John, that was on there, he's also self-realizing. He was from that world. And we were on the ship, and he was talking to her, and then I had come up and I started talking to her. He introduced me. I could feel, how you can feel like the auras, like I can kind of see your aura a little bit here, and the energy that's going on, like in the
I've been
telepathy.
watching your aura the whole time.
Oh, okay, so I've been doing
Yeah.
that. So you can
Like,
kind of,
wow.
it's like I'm full, like like I'm full, but I
Yeah.
feel like
You're
you're,
like,
yeah, like I'm full, but you're actually filling me up even more. You just did that. You're filling me up even more. Like the space is full. But so just have it like just bringing that presence with her. And then as soon as I like came into her space, um, she was like, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling in some kind of intensity here. Something wants this to release or something, some word she used. And then she just opened up and she's like, I have all these feelings of self-worth and I'm not worthy and I know but I know I'm not my thoughts and I don't know, just something came through to me and I just looked at her and I said, you are whole, you're complete, you don't have to try anymore, just let it go. You're just this space of beingness, it's all okay. And then it was just, yeah, I just get goosebumps.
yeah.
And she goes, that's what it is. And there was just like this profound peace that came over her. And almost like she let go, like of all the conditioning, all the thoughts, the identity she had, and she could realize, what she truly
Mm,
was. And then we hugged and thanked me, and there was this. And then John was watching the whole thing, and he commented about it. He's like, I was observing you on the ship and how different people would come up because I had a couple of these kind of interactions, like these synchronicities, where it's almost like the infinite being is like bringing people into your presence, and then like you're holding that space and being that mirror for them, and it's just consciousness like waking it up to itself, and
yeah.
it's I don't know, it's like really profound, or just feeling that energy come through, and just having it there in that space is just, I don't know how to put words to it, but I'm having like those kind of synchronicities, and this feeling of the presence, that's here, and how it can just heal. I never, I could feel it like here in my heart, like this whole space is this big loving space of presence, and I feel like anything that can come into it that's not true, it just kind of just melts, and then there's just the peace that like an ocean that just takes over the space, and anything that's not true can't really stay in that space.
Yes. Wow, that's so powerful. So true. That frequency is so high that nothing that's resonant with it can sustain itself. Wow. Um, are you still there? Are you frozen?
Now I'm here. I just was enjoying that moment of
Yeah,
presence, of stillness.
so powerful, so palpable. But I know what you mean. Just, I have similar experiences out in the world, just people.
Tell me, I love hearing this.
It's almost like a bees to honey or flies to the light sort of thing. And I don't see it that way in the moment, but there's almost just like these people will sometimes just seem to be drawn to start talking, in just a very just random, you're walking down the street or in the store or something, and someone will just come up to me and they'll just start talking. And it's almost like that. There's a little crack in the door, there's an opening. And sometimes it turns into the most beautiful moment of that reflection.
Love that.
Because that's how I see people too, the same way. I see the infinite, the divine in them, the light in them. And I'm not looking at the character.
And you're holding them in that space.
Hmm.
And that's profound, and that's healing. That's true healing.
Yeah. I had a situation with someone who I had a conversation with in in a public space. We didn't really know each other well,
Hmm.
but we knew each other a little bit. And they just broke down sobbing, and they were overwhelmed and they had to run away to kind of collect themselves because we were in a public space. And he came back and said, I don't know what just happened, but thank
Hmm.
you. And he said, I haven't felt so, he didn't say held, but it was kind of the message of
Yes.
what he was saying, just like loved, probably, and seen. And it was just like so beautiful from my perspective. Like, no, don't run away. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. But, the whole ego of the embarrassment but it was
Mhm.
so spontaneous and so true, so natural. And, you know,
It is beautiful.
it life, yeah, I was just going to say, this journey is meant to be that beautiful, really, every day.
The everyday moments can be beautiful. It doesn't matter. It could be going to the grocery store, going to the gas station, going to a restaurant, you know, interactions with people that just come up into your
Mhm.
space. Any space that anyone's in can be a healing space when you're coming from that fullness and holding people
Yeah.
as whole and complete as the infinite being, that
Yeah.
they're not broken, they're just they're whole, they're complete, they're you, there's equality there, there's love there. And just holding that space and just reflecting it to them and holding them with that in mind, it just, the silence and the space does all of the healing. Consciousness is
Mhm.
doing it, nothing we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Just
There's a
letting
man
it.
who, yeah, there's a man who called me up. He was listening to the YouTube, to my YouTube channel, and he said, he called me up and he goes, I've been listening to you, David Bingham, different people out there, and you're all saying the similar things. And he goes, I have cancer. I'm suffering. The doctors are telling me, there's no hope. I'm going to die, and and all this suffering and stuff. And something came through, and was just like I couldn't see him in his cancer. I couldn't see him in his suffering. I could only see, what he truly was. I could only see him in his true nature as the infinite being and as whole and complete. And I said, I totally honor, what you're going through. I said when I was able to relate to him, I don't know, people like that tend to come to me. It's almost like experiences that we have in life. It's like the infinite being is almost using it to connect with people. And then a healing happens through that. Because when I was 18, I had Hodgkin's disease, which was a form of cancer. And I've been fine ever since. It was just I just had been through that, so I could everything he was telling me about the chemotherapy and how he's going through it. I could totally relate to that human experience. But when I was holding him in that, I could just hold him in. I could just see him as whole and complete and healed. I said, I see you as healthy. I see you as happy. I see you as whole. And he goes, What? You see me as happy, as healthy? And then he just started crying and he let down. He was just, nobody's ever held me in that. Everyone had been telling him, the doctors telling him, oh, you're sick, family, friends, oh, you have cancer. And he had this, he was really believing this identity. The doctors were telling him that, and they weren't giving him any hope, and they were just saying that. But I could just see through it that, I saw him in his completeness, in his health. I couldn't see him as broken. I couldn't see him as this man that was suffering. But I honor his experience because I've been there too, like
Yeah.
where you're really having that experience, and I always
Yeah.
respect that with people. I honor that because I know what it's like to be the character in the movie as we're playing. And
Mhm.
but there's something about, I don't know, just like reflecting that back to people, what they truly are. It's almost like waking consciousness up to say, you know, you're sleeping, like wake up, like, well, this is what you truly are. And that moment that people, find that reflection, it's not I'm doing it, it's consciousness doing it to itself. They wake up and it's instant because it's just right here. Because if everyone could just right now just become right here, right now, and look around, like what's really going on? Like everything is whole, it's complete, it's heaven on earth to me. Like from where I can only speak from my direct experience, the only time it couldn't be that is if a thought's coming in telling me that it's not. But it's kind of like I don't believe the thought because it's almost like I view it as like the tooth fairy or something, like some story, like, and because the
Mhm.
mind tries to come in and say that. But as I was saying before, in this space of beingness, only truth can prevail. So anything else that's coming, it's almost like it's evaporating so quickly. I can only hold this space of wholeness, of heaven on earth, or abundance. Like I feel like I am abundance. I feel like I am the joy. I am the peace. I am the love. And that's the space I hold. So when people are coming to me telling me these stories, these experiences, I can only hold them in that. I can't see them any other way.
Mm. And that's the ultimate gift, really. It's, I have goosebumps. It's such a beautiful gift to receive, which you're actually receiving in the giving, but you know. as the receiver and that man you were just talking about. I could just cry thinking about that, you know.
The relief, though,
Imagine.
if you've seen the relief that was on this man's face, imagine all those people telling that, and you think about all the
Yeah,
stuff, the mind stuff, the thoughts and the mind, all that
yeah,
suffering is having, and then it just holding someone in in the
yeah,
space and seeing them as love, as whole, as complete, as healthy, as happy. I could see him like as a little boy, like skipping down the street, playing baseball with his friends. Like I, I
yeah,
couldn't see him any other way.
yeah.
I can't. Because I know what he is. I know what truth is. You can't, truth is truth.
And that's why the human family is so important because we are able to reflect that back to each other. Imagine if you're the only person in the world, the beauty and the wonder of mirroring that back to one another is, oh, so it's so sweet.
And I love how you kind of mirroring that right back here too.
Mhm.
And I want to mirror that for you.
Mhm. And you are, yeah. I think we're building a new earth. Feels like there are so many people functioning at this level of loving presence and awareness.
Hmm.
At least that's my experience, and it's probably because that's my reality, because that's what I see. I guess, other people have a different experience, but I really feel like consciousness is accelerating, it's revealing itself.
Definitely is. I remember when we had emailed David, he was like, "Wow, you're one of the, I'm starting to see now like the spontaneous awakenings happening. It used to be, people go years and years, of, welcoming things, releasing things, letting things go, or having meditating for years or going to India or different things like that. It just feels like consciousness is just, like you said, revealing itself quickly. People are spontaneously waking up. You can wake up just by a few words. You're the infinite being, have a human experience. Poof. And I wasn't the only one during that time. There's a few others that had awakened during Rhonda's book. I think you were one of them, right? Something with Rhonda's book, was it?
Yeah, I had a call with David though. We actually
Okay.
had a Zoom, and
Yeah.
that's when it happened for me. But I had listened to John Wheeler's podcast
Yeah, that was a good one.
before. I had read Rhonda's book, The Greatest Secret. I had also read The Secret way back when.
Hmm.
I was also mentored by Marcy Shimoff, who is in The Secret, and she, in her mentorship program, introduced me and the other people in the program to a lot of her circle, which is, that similar circle of those spiritual teachers and
Hmm.
leaders. So I was deep into it, you know, from a seeking perspective, but just like, what am I missing? How am I missing this? Missing something. And by the time I got on with David, I was like, I don't know, I've devoted my life to this and I'm suffering and I'm tired of suffering. And then we had a conversation and it was just like,
And what was the moment you realized you weren't suffering because you realized you weren't that Sarah in the story that was suffering, that I of Sarah, but you were
yeah,
the energetic I, the universal I.
yeah, yeah. The identity of the character just broke away. Like she was
So
still there, but it was just like I think David was like pulling on it,
he's almost
pulling
like
us apart.
he's like you're going over here and he takes you, puts you back down in your seat. Okay. He does it gently though, doesn't he?
So yeah, so gently. But like a surgeon,
Yeah.
he sliced it
The way
up.
he unravels the dualistic world is just like the dualistic experience. He just unravels it like boom, boom, boom. Like
Yeah, he
surgically.
took surgically. He took me through the exercise of noticing, non-conceptually noticing things that
Yeah.
are happening, right? Sounds and thoughts and he did that and we may have done one other exercise and then he said a few pointed phrases and I was just like and there it was and it was just like it all fell away. It's like the whole thing, the whole scaffolding collapsed. I was like, and it was just me or the I am
Yeah.
as I've always been. Nothing changed, but everything changed.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Look how happy you are.
Yeah.
You look so happy.
Thank you. Happiness. I would actually say joy is
Joy. Love it.
probably a better descriptor, but there is so much spontaneous joy in allowing that other identity to break away.
Almost like joy for no reason.
Yeah. Happy for no reason.
I
That's one
love
of
that.
Marcy Shimoff's books, actually.
Is it? Yeah, that's great.
Happy for no reason. Yeah, unconditional happiness, an inner state of pleasantness. That is my intention every day to nurture that, no matter what the objective reality is showing me. And I'm still human, so I still have the emotions, I still have the, you know,
But Sarah's
mind.
adorable. She's adorable in the play.
Oh,
She's so
she's so
adorable.
adorable.
Isn't she? Oh,
She
that's
is
cute. Look
adorable.
how she fell and skinned her knee. She's so adorable.
Yeah, it's adorable when she has all the human emotions and
I
the
love her cry.
the
Oh,
thoughts.
oh, poor Sarah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I like that. I'm going to start using that language with myself or that lingo. Oh, look at
Okay,
you, Sarah.
Sarah. All is well. It's okay.
Yeah, I like saying, "Oh, I'm noticing that Sarah is feeling quite upset right now."
Talking like third person.
Yeah. So yeah, someone said that to me the other day. They're like, could you imagine if you just talk like that all day long?
Yeah.
That actually wouldn't really work,
They might lock you up. I
socially.
don't know.
Yeah, you might not survive long in society, but
I don't know how that would impact your business either. That's
blame it
funny.
on the self-realization.
Yeah, it's all self-realization's fault.
It's a side effect of
Everybody
self-realization.
listening now, don't become self-realizing. What's funny is you
Or
can't
you'll
help.
have to talk in the third person.
Yeah, talking to the third. But you know what it is? Nobody can help. We're all remaining as the pristine infinite being anyway. Like we all are. Even in this very moment, everyone is. It's just that they're believing what the mind's telling them. That's all self-realization is just you just seeing through it, saying that I am whole and complete. I am the infinite being. It's just that the mind is coming and telling you that you're not, that you're this separate person, Rob, Sarah, with this story. I mean, it's that simple, really.
That's all that's happening. That's
Mhm.
all that's happening.
Because there's still,
That's it.
seeing, tasting, smelling, touching, all the five senses is still going on. It's just that it's been
Yeah.
misidentified as a Rob. And those thoughts and those stories don't apply to what this is. This aliveness, there's still this aliveness, this beingness. Like everyone could feel this beingness. And this beingness is whole and it's complete. If you just close your eyes and you can just feel your beingness and know that the beingness is whole. It's complete. It has everything. It's abundant. It is everything. And, can this beingness, can it get sick? No. Can it die?
No.
Is it
No.
depressed? What
Nope.
does it need? Does it need anything?
No.
You can just go through that exercise with
Yeah.
people. Because when you look at what we truly are and you get curious about what that consciousness is, it reveals itself that it's whole, it's complete, it's joy, it's happy, it's content, doesn't need anything, doesn't worry about a job, a career, doesn't worry about getting sick, doesn't worry about what's happening with the kids. All is well.
Mhm.
Is there a peace in knowing that?
So much peace in knowing that.
I want that for everyone. But is
Yeah.
that, yeah, I mean, but it's okay. Like, it's okay where everybody's at because I look at my journey, like, if you want to call it that, everything's fine the way it was. Is it just got you to this place of where you're at now, and it's fine. It's however consciousness wants to do it. It's fine because it's all allowing. Because there's really, at the end of the day, there's nothing serious going on. It's all okay. It's just consciousness having, this human experience. Um,
Mhm.
through form, really. It's happening through all these forms, having these experiences. And it's okay because it's never harmed by anything. All is well.
Yeah. And I think that if we have that divine determination to realize our true nature, I know that it's ours. For those people who are like, where is it? Why haven't I uncovered this? Or how, what's wrong with me? What am I missing? That as long as the determination is there and you rest in it and let it be what it is now, it's fine. It will reveal itself.
Hmm. Yep. It'll reveal itself at the perfect time, whenever it wants
Perfect
to.
time.
Yep.
And the trick is to let it be okay where we are now.
No, that's why I said that. Everything is fine just where it is. It's okay. Everything is okay. You're not
Yeah.
missing anything. It's almost when you relax what the mind's saying, because all it is what's this right here. But the mind's telling you a story that, oh, you're not self-realized,
You're not self-realized.
or you're not
Yeah.
there yet, or you're coming in and out of it. I've heard people say
Yeah.
that. But or I have to maintain presence. No, you are presence. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to maintain a
To
presence.
maintain presence.
There's not two
Yeah.
presence here or two consciousnesses here.
Yeah. Yeah. And the whole thing about I come in and out of it again, you're so right. It's just a story that I come in and out of it. You don't
It's like
actually.
David says, another invitation for another life experience. You're back on the roller coaster again.
Mhm.
They're just invitations. There's invitation to the depression party, invitation to the happy party, the joy party, so you're empowered to choose which life experience you want to have.
And they're options. They're experiences. None of them are good or bad. They're options. And I always say that too. If someone goes, takes the invitation, accepts it to the depression party,
Fine.
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Go on the ride. Yeah. Have fun.
You went on the ride.
Yeah. Nothing's getting hurt or harmed. Yeah, do it. Yeah, that's what you want. You're the infinite being. You're so free.
An
You can
experience.
experience that too. If you want,
Yeah.
experience what you want. And the infinite being's okay with it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
You're so, how does this saying go? Or maybe it's in Rhonda's book. You're so free that you can impose, the most extreme bondage on yourself,
Yeah.
and you
So
can
true.
build yourself into a cage and throw away the key and do all sorts of things.
Definitely.
All experiences, none good nor bad.
Right. That's why I love that place of neutrality. Like, just if you can just be in that neutral space where everything's arising effortlessly, all the forms, the emotions, the feelings, and you're just neutral to it all. Like, because the mind wants to come in and give it all kinds of labels to it, like this energy that's coming through is depression, or this energy coming through is bad or good, or all these polarities. But if you can just stay with neutrality, that's what I try to do, is stay between neutrality and joy and bliss. Like, try to stay within that range on the emotional scale. And because you can you are the infinite being. You can command to the universe what you want. Like, you don't have to go below, because those are all invitations. They're optional. And when you realize that, when you're conscious of that, and you're not just allowing things just to happen unconsciously, but you're aware of it, and your awareness, you can kind of, you know, dictate or command what it is that you want. And you can put up boundaries. So
Mhm.
that's a good word. Yeah, boundaries. There's boundaries here. Even though you're the infinite being, your love, there's still boundaries. You can put up boundaries, loving boundaries, out of self-respect for what you are.
Mhm. And what are your thoughts on emotions? Do you think that when you do have like a negative emotion or a fear, that you are best to, so you could decline the invitation
Hmm.
Say, I'm not consenting to this experience. Or you can welcome it, feel it, and let it go,
Hmm.
and remain in the awareness that you are the infinite being and you're witnessing the character having an emotional experience. It's neither good nor bad. But the negative ones are uncomfortable. Like the vibration of that electrical passing is, often intense or uncomfortable. What's your, where are you at on that?
I would say just be the space for it. Like everything's welcome. You never
Yeah.
resist anything. Everything is welcome, but it's welcomed in love. Like everything can be here. Any emotion, any feeling that wants to come, let it come. You're the space. You're the infinite space, the loving presence, the space of beingness, and all the emotions are coming and going. It's like you're the infinite ocean, and in that deep infinite ocean, where I put my attention in my heart in that ocean, everything can come. All depression, all joy, all negative emotions, whatever wants to come can come. It's all welcome to come. And it's just almost like this wave of love and acceptance and of peace overpowers it and just like floods it with love. And it just dissipates in this space of beingness that I am. Anything that comes into this space of presence can come and
Mhm.
dissolve into love. It's like an invitation
Mhm.
into love to me. Like the emotions and feelings can come, but I can almost turn them into love and into joy. And also I look at it as like if a negative emotion's coming up, it's almost like I quickly check like what is it that I'm believing? It's almost like my intuition is telling me that I'm out of alignment with my true self,
Mhm.
of what my true nature is. So, then it'll quickly reveal itself. What is it that's something's off? My intuition is telling me something's off. There's a negative emotion here. Am I believing something? What is it that I'm not believing? Am I identifying with something that I'm not? You know, is it feeling constricted in my body? What is it? Where is it in my body that's feeling constricted? What is it that knows that this emotion or this feeling's here? What is it that knows? Well, what am I? What am I in all of this? In this reality of this emotion coming up? Am I the pristine infinite being, the presence, the impersonal beingness where this emotion's coming up? Or am I Rob that's identified with this emotion, that's having the experience of it? But what is it that sees it, that's aware of it? Where are you in all of that? And then that's kind of like dissolves it all and it makes it all
Yeah.
okay. And it doesn't touch the consciousness that you are. So be the space for it.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I love that. Very powerful. I think it's a beautiful, balanced way to process not process, allow the human
Yes.
experience
Feel it
without getting
more.
sucked into it. Yeah,
Yeah.
we came here to feel.
Feel it.
We
Feel
didn't come
everything.
here
Feel the
to,
depression. Feel it.
yeah,
Bring it on. Presence can bring it on. There's nothing that presence can't handle or be or transmute it.
yeah,
Transmute
yeah.
it. Think of the people that do the
Transmute
gold
it.
and yeah, that do the gold and turn
Yeah.
those things into gold. Like,
Alchemists.
yeah, that's the perfect word.
Yeah.
Like we're
Yeah.
almost like alchemists. Yeah. I guess
Yeah.
that's what that word that resonated.
Yeah.
But you can
Yeah.
turn any emotion. Let the fear come. Let the depression come. Let me look at you. Let me hold you in this space. Let me get curious about what this is.
Yeah.
What do you want to say? If that, what I would do with the emotions too, like, what is this fear? If this fear had a voice, if it had some words, what would it be saying to me right now?
Mm-hmm.
What is it trying to tell me?
Because it's a gift. It's delivering a gift.
Yes, it's trying to tell you something. Your intuition's trying to tell you something. Maybe you're believing something that's not there. That's
Yeah.
not true.
You can't receive the gift unless you will allow the presence to witness it, to be with it.
Yes.
And then it transmutes, I find, just by that loving presence. Like you
Yeah.
said, transmutes to love or to peace or acceptance,
Yeah. Once,
joy.
once you're aware of it, you're out of it.
Yeah.
And it transmutes and it dissipates because you are
Yeah.
love. You are whole. You're complete. You have everything. You're full. This whole space is full and welcomes everything, and everything can come in it. I could just wrap my arms around it in love and just bury it with love and overwhelm it with love. And how do you resist love? I could take
Yeah.
any emotion and feeling, I could wrap it in love. And when I squeeze it, what's going to happen to it?
Yeah. And that's like the death of fear, really, because the things we mostly fear are in the mind. And we fear emotion and we fear the mind which produces that. So if you're not afraid of depression or anger or rage or sadness or grief, all those human experiences, and you can wrap them all in love, what's there to be afraid of?
Nothing. It can all come. It's all okay. You are love. Love is the most powerful thing in the universe.
Mhm.
And you are that. I think that's a good place to end, unless you have something else.
I think that's perfect. I love it.
Love. We end it with love.
Wow, what a joy, what a joy.
Put it that way. It's just all like love.
Mic drop.
Yeah, boom. We're out. All right, I'm gonna end the
Wow.
video here.